Sam Kennedy joins us this morning on the Harbor One Hotline. Good morning, Sam. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, guys. Good morning. The show sounds great today. I don't know if something's different this morning, but
Deadweight Hill.
It's been amazing.
Yeah,
Deadweight. A great listen. I don't. Something's different.
Thank you, Sam. Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to get rid of Greg for about 30 years. I think I'm almost there. But thanks for your time this morning. So, tough back-to-back games in Oakland, but by and large, best record in baseball to start off the month of July. What have you seen from the team that maybe you didn't see before the break?
Well, it continues to be a team that warrants our belief and support. Which has been there from the beginning. We have been streaky throughout the course of the year, and I think you've seen hopefully the true version of the 2023 Red Sox the last several weeks. It's been really fun to watch. Great offensive performances. Our starting pitchers, what's left of them, have stepped up in a big way. And now we come into crunch time here as we're facing the deadline. But a lot of good things happening, and we got a huge weekend here against the New York Mets.
Sam, as you approach the August 1st trade deadline, I'm curious about, you've been here for 20 plus years. How important is it for the front office to show the roster that's currently at your big league level that you are invested in adding at this time of year?
Well, look, I think it's really important that the roster, that the players, that the clubhouse, the staff understand and feel the support from ownership and the front office. But I think that actually happens in the off season or prior off seasons. And what I mean by that is this is a roster that was built to compete in a very, very tough division. We've got, in our opinion, some of the best, if not the best, coaching staffs in all of baseball. And so, look, we've made significant investment into this team. John Henry and Tom Werner are always going to do that. I don't think you want to make a trade at the trade deadline just to make a trade. I think you want to make a deal to bolster what you have if you need to, if you have holes. What's really interesting as we come into this trade deadline, look, we're right in the mix here. We're 51-46. I think we're 2 or 3 games out of a wild card spot. Obviously not where we want to be, but recognizing we've got 40% of the schedule remaining, we've got the potential post-trade deadline for 3 impact starters to come back, hopefully in the month of August, in Witt and Tanner and Chris Sale, and then fingers crossed, but we might have Trevor Story coming back sooner than later, an impact arm in the bullpen, and John Schreiber. So it's frankly, it's much more important that we get those guys back healthy and contributing, because I think if they had been healthy over the balance of the season, we probably wouldn't be a couple games out of the wild card. I think we'd be firmly ensconced in a playoff position. But look, injuries are a part of the game. We just got to keep going, keep grinding. We've got 9 games before the deadline, and I'm just being honest and direct. They're huge. These are huge games, these 3. And we've got 2 against the Braves, a couple against the Giants and the Mariners. We got to go out and show that we're in this thing.
Sam, I think a lot of fans, going off of what you just said, are worried that when it comes to that August 1st trade deadline, that you guys will put out there, big acquisitions, whether it's Chris or Trevor or Tanner, and it's almost a cop-out for the Red Sox to say that, oh, well, we've got a starting pitcher in Chris Sale. What do you say to those fans that think that there should be bigger moves than just getting the guys that you already have healthy again?
Look, we understand. I think what our fans want, and they're the smartest fans in baseball. I talk to them literally each and every day, all day, whether I'm at Fenway Park or in the local Dunkin' Donuts or on Route 9, distracted on my phone, getting honked at for sitting at a green light. Whatever it may be, Red Sox fans know that we need to be committed. They want us to be committed. We've shown an ability to get it done. We've also struggled and had difficult seasons. They want a competitive team that's built to be competitive for the long term. We want to win this year. We want to win next year. We want to win every year. So again, we're not going to go out and just just make a splash to make a splash. The baseball gods will come back to hurt you if you don't do the right thing for your franchise in the near term and the long term, and that's what we're trying to do each and every year.
Sam, how difficult is it to do that, especially like you said, when you're in a position where you're basically in striking distance for the second or third wild card spot? But you do know that you have these guys coming back. How difficult is it to balance? All right, we know we're in the mix. Let's not do anything crazy with just going out to get guys just to get guys. But we also know we got guys coming back, because I feel like you said, if you had these guys, or if you were in the mix right now and you're a wild card team, you might maybe take the approach of the deadline a little bit differently. But because you're like just on the outside looking in, how difficult is it to balance to not make crazy decisions?
It's hard, Wiggy, and you have to be really disciplined. And you have to realize that, baseball, Major League Baseball is so different now. It doesn't sound that different, but 12 teams versus 10 teams in the past, 3 division winners playing 3 wild card teams changes the dynamic totally. I mean, you have so many teams now, that are in this thing, which is great for all those markets. We're chasing Toronto, Houston, Tampa, Baltimore, obviously. Baltimore just went into first place. We've got so many teams chasing us, the Yankees, the Angels, Mariners, all coming after us. So I guess my point is there's so many more teams that are in it as we get to August 1st. So that changes the dynamic of the trade deadline in a major way. I'll tell you, Chaim, BOH, the baseball operations leadership, they've been engaged with all the teams. The way we work it is they divide up all the teams, and people in our baseball ops staff are assigned to talk to different major league teams on a weekly, if not daily basis this time of year, sort of sensing what teams are looking for, what they might be willing to move on from, what they might be looking to acquire, and we're doing the same. So it's been incredibly busy for the last 3 or 4 weeks on this topic once we got through the draft. And it's going to be a really interesting trade deadline. I know there's a natural reaction to want to sort of hear or see, a big deal. There may be some surprises, but the truth is I don't know what's going to happen. None of us do yet, and we'll see what happens here in the coming 9 or 10 days.
We're joined by Sam Kennedy on the Harbor One Hotline. And Sam, I found this quote from Alex Cora to Mass Live pretty interesting this past week. He said, "It's not about how many prospects you have or where your farm system is. It might be number 1 or 30th or whatever. The one that really counts is how many games you can win in October and how many games you play in October. That's what we're shooting for." That doesn't sound like a guy that's looking forward to standing pat. Would you agree with that sentiment from Alex?
Oh yeah, I mean, look, when you're the manager of the Boston Red Sox, you're focused on winning every single night. That's why Alex is one of the best in the game. That's why he's a World Series champion here, and that's why he gets his guys up, gets them motivated. That's exactly the right mentality and the right attitude. And frankly, that's how I live my life day to day with this team. You want to win every single year. And the way you do that is by building a great farm system. And that's why Chaim and BOH and the baseball ops group have a really, really tough job as well. Being the manager of the Red Sox, probably the hardest job in professional sports, and being the general manager, chief baseball officer is right there with it as well, because not only do you want to win a World Series each and every year, you got to be good for the long term. And we know, given our 2+ decades here, the only way you do that is to have a robust farm system and players coming through like Dustin Pedroia and John Lester and Jacoby Ellsbury and Mookie Betts. And now we've got that next generation coming behind with Meyer and York and Rafaela, and you're seeing Duran and Cassis. So you got to have both. But in terms of Alex sentiments, completely understand and agree. What matters, wins and losses.
Just on that, and it's been a point of contention for me with the only way you can do it sustainably is with the farm system. But the best team the Red Sox have ever had in my lifetime was the 2018 Red Sox. And that team was built in part by Dave Dombrowski, obviously Ben Cherington players, even Theo. I mean, there was a lot of people that played a role in developing that roster. But I don't look back at the 2018 Red Sox and the way in which Dombrowski went after Chris Sale and others and say that the farm system, you lost a bunch of trades. I feel like there is a way. It just is more expensive, but could you not continue to do what Dombrowski was doing and win?
Look, you're. I think you actually just made the point, Chris. I mean, that 2018 championship does not happen without a bedrock of foundational Boston Red Sox homegrown players that came through our system. Guys like Mookie Betts, guys like Andrew Benintendi, guys like Jackie Bradley Jr. Yes, do you go out and add big-time free agents or make trades like we did with the Padres for Craig Kimbrell? Yeah. Do you go out and make a deal and trade off prospects for Chris Sale to come in and dominate? Yeah, you do. So you got to do both. That is, there can be contention with that, but I'm sorry, you can't argue the point. You need a strong minor league system that produces star players, young players that can contribute. We had that in 2018 in a major way, and we went out and made the right decisions on big-time trades and big-time free agents, and that's the goal here.
Sam, when you look at it from, like a front office, GM, baseball ops perspective, I look at baseball as being get into the postseason and anything's possible, because in other sports like football, you always got like the Kansas City Chiefs and you go, I don't think we can beat them, or basketball, it's the Golden State Warriors. But I almost feel like baseball, especially with the Red Sox organization, they've proven that if you can get into the postseason, you can really, really make a lot of noise. Is that the same mindset that you have with you guys, is that like baseball is so wide open, there's not that one dominant team that you look at and go, we're going to have to be perfect to beat them?
Yeah, completely agree with that view. I think you said it well, Wiggy. We've proved it. You know, if you remember down the stretch and the end of the regular season in 2021 and in Washington and Baltimore, you know, it was touch and go there. And we got in and we were 2 games from going to the World Series. We got hot in the postseason. You look at last year's postseason with Philadelphia, I don't think they would have made the postseason if not for the new format in terms of adding the extra team and the extra wild card. So, and then they got in and they got really hot and they almost won it all. So yeah, it's about getting into the tournament, into the dance, and then having that belief that you can win it all. All bets are off the table once you get into the postseason.
Well, Sam, thank you for your time. As always, good luck this weekend against the Mets and in the days leading up to the deadline.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.